Welcome to the class 10 students. This is the continuation part of the chapter Heredity and Common Genetic Diseases. This video is the continuation of the dihybrid cross. In my last two videos I have told you how to do the dihybrid cross. It is quite lengthy and quite complex also. As you can see here, the Punnett square is only this much big, and this is only the last part. So I am here to talk about the dihybrid cross more, what you should do and what you should not do. So since this Punnett square is in front of me right now, so let's talk about this right now. Here what I have done means I am just doing a recap of this. Okay, so here what have I done? I have taken the gametes of the F1 generation, which is capital R, capital Y, capital R, small y, small r, capital Y, small r, small y, and I have self fertilized them. That is why I have written them on both the sides, as you can see. Okay, so let me rub this thing so that it will be easier for you to understand, otherwise it is getting very clumsy. And I will rub the phenotypic ratio also, because I will do it freshly, as I told you that the parental phenotypes should be at the extremes, that I didn't remember while doing. So I'll do it again. Acha. So here you can see that I have combined the gametes in and found out the resultant in each cell. I am rubbing this so that it will be easier for me to do the cross again. Cross means finding out the ratio again, so that you can also understand how to do it. I am doing it again. Okay, so this is how I have done it, by combining each gamete. Okay, now our solution doesn't end here. We are going to find out the phenotypic ratio. I have written in here PR. Please do not write PR. If I find you writing PR in examination, I am going to cut the full thing, because I am saying again and again not to write it in this way. Okay, so what should be the phenotypic ratio? Before finding the phenotypic ratio, I first need to write the phenotypes, right? So what are the phenotypes? I said that the two parental phenotypes will be two of the four phenotypes that we are going to find of the phenotypic ratio. Okay, so we are going to write the parental phenotypes at the extremes. So the first parental phenotype was round yellow. I am writing in short. Round yellow is to something, is to something, and here I am going to write the another parental phenotype, which is wrinkled green. Wrinkled green. I hope you can see everybody. Okay, now in the middle two phenotypes we are going to just combine these two. So round and green and wrinkled yellow. Okay, so these are the four phenotypes that we are going to find out how many organisms are there of this phenotype. Okay, round yellow, how are we going to find out from these which one is round and means which one is round yellow? We are going to apply a trick here to find out which of these organisms are round yellow. So round is dominant over wrinkle, right? So that is why we do not need to know what is the other one. If this is like this, if means this dash can be capital R, this dash can be small r, it doesn't matter. This, if one capital R is present, then it will be round. Okay, and similarly round yellow is dominant over green. So if one capital Y is present, it will be dominant and it will be yellow. So we do not need to bother about what the other allele will be. So whichever organisms here has one capital R and one capital Y will automatically fall under round yellow. Okay, so let's find out. One capital R, one capital Y. Here also same, 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 same. So how many? 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, and let's see if we get another one here. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, we are getting 9. Okay, now round green, I have written round green. Round also same, because round is dominant over wrinkled, we do not need to care what is the other allele. If one capital R is present, then it is round, but green is recessive. So we will have to find small y. So we will have to find those organisms which has one capital R and two small y's. Okay, so which are those organisms? One capital R and two small y's. This is one capital R, two small y's, another one, and none of the others contains the same. So 1, 2 and 3. Now wrinkled yellow. How are we going to find which organisms are wrinkled yellow? Wrinkle is recessive, so smaller has to be there, and yellow is dominant, that is why one capital Y and the other one we do not need to care about that. Okay. So two small r's and one capital Y's. Let's see where do we find it. 1, 2, 3. All others, and this one is left. This one is not, doesn't have one capital Y. So 3. And the lastly wrinkled green. Wrinkled green means small r, small y. Only one is there. So 9:3:3:1. This is how we are going to find out the ratio. The ratio 9:3:3:1. The phenotypic ratio of dihybrid cross is going to be same whatever characters we may take. We may take some other characters of Mendel's, those contrasting pair of characters, but we are going to find out the Punnett square in this manner, but the ratio is going to remain constant. The ratio is going to remain same. The phenotypes may change, but still the ratio is going to remain same. Now let's move back to the first part of this cross. Here we took round yellow, right? Round yellow and wrinkled green. Round was dominant over wrinkled, that is why we took round as capital R and wrinkled as small r, and yellow was dominant over green, that is why we took yellow as capital Y and green as small y. And then we this was the parental generation, and then we found out the gametes. The gametes of one will be capital R capital Y and the other one will be small r small y. I have already done this in the previous video. Then we are going to find out the F1 generation of the two, which will be capital R capital Y small y. In this way we are going to find out the gametes of the F1 generation, and then this means these are the gametes, and then this follows. So you will have to do this dihybrid cross very carefully, because if you do one mistake here, this ratio is not going to come correctly. But since I told you that this ratio is going to remain same for every problem you get, you might just write the ratio same, but you might have done mistake here. That is not going, means that should not be the case, because even if we know that everybody knows that this cross, this ratio will be constant, I am going to check this part, because this is what is difficult. This answer is same, everybody will get this answer same, but this is what is difficult. So we will have to check this, and if you do mistake here, there means you are not doing the problem correctly. Okay, so I hope the dihybrid cross is clear to you all. I am going to do many more problems on this dihybrid cross, but next we will do the Mendel's laws. We will discuss the Mendel's laws, okay, in the next video. Thank you.